Chapter 3 Swaps. A swap is an agreement between two counterparties to exchange cash flows in the future, according to a predetermined formulation. For example, in a plain vanilla swap, one party swaps a series of fixed-level payments for a series of variable-level payments made by the counterparty. Thus, swaps can be regarded as a series of forward contracts, and they can be priced using the concepts of forwards. The lifespan of a swap is called a swap term or swap tenor. In this chapter, we're going to study three kinds of swaps: commodity swaps, interest rate swaps, and currency swaps. Now let's first introduce the commodity swaps. An oil swap is a typical example of commodity swaps. Suppose a power company buys oil on the spot market every month. That is, the company pays the real spot price in exchange for the oil from the spot oil market. If the company arranges a swap with a counterparty or a swap dealer to exchange fixed payments for the spot oil price payments, the net effect is that the power company has eliminated the variability of its spot payments and pays fixed price in exchange for the oil. Now let's see how to determine the swap price. Suppose party A receives spot price while paying a fixed price for n units of a commodity each period. Assume there are n periods. Let SI denote the spot price of the commodity at time I, and X denote the fixed price. Then the net cash flow stream received by A is SI minus X times n units for I from 1 to m. Here, the fixed price X is called the swap price. Let F0I denote the forward price of 1 unit of the commodity to be received at time point I, with reference to the current time 0, and D0I be the discount factor between time now and time point I. Then, the current value of receiving SI at time point I, that is, the discounted expectation of SI, is best given by the discounted F0I. Therefore, correspondingly, the cash flow at time point I, when valued at time now, that is, the discounted expectation of SI minus X, is given by the discounted F0I minus X. Then, by summing up the present value of the cash flow for n units of the commodity over the n period, we get the total present value of the cash flow stream, which is equal to the sum of the discounted difference between the forward price and the fixed price X for n units at each time point I. Hence, the swap value is determined from the series of forward prices. Usually, the fixed payment amount X is determined such that the initial swap value is 0. That is, by setting the time 0 value of the swap to be 0, we can solve the value of X, which turns out to be a weighted average of the forward price at each time point I. Similarly, in the case when the quantity of the commodity to be bought or sold is a variable, the swap price can also be determined by setting the time 0 value of the cash flow stream to 0. Let Ni be the quantity for period I. Then, the value of the cash flow for each period is calculated based on the quantity involved correspondingly. Solving from the above equation, X is again a weighted average of the forward price at each time point I. However, the weights depend on both the quantity and the discount factors. Now that we have learned the commodity swaps and how the swap price is determined, in the next lesson, we'll start the section on the interest rate swaps. The idea of different swaps is essentially the same. That is, exchanging the fixed payments with the variable payments, or the other way around. In terms of interest rates, it is an exchange between a fixed rate and a floating rate.